What is the secret to unlocking your full potential? What makes your idols any different than you? How do you become the person you've always wanted to be in life? This is where you get all of your questions answered. My name is Justin Shank, and I sit down with some of the most epic individuals who are changing the world with their actions in business and in life. We discuss how they did it, why they pushed themselves, and more importantly, how they were able to focus on continuous growth to achieve their dreams. Welcome to the Growth Now movement. This week, I sit down with 4 women who between them have 8 gold medals. All right, so let me tell you the backstory on this really quick. So I sit on the board of an incredible nonprofit called Big Vision Foundation. And what that does is it connects kids to community through sports like Little League, soccer, softball, and all of those amazing things that teach us teamwork, good sportsmanship, and everything else that those kids are learning on the field every single day. Now, every year, Big Vision teams up with Jennie Finch Baseball Camps to teach young women the skills they need not only for softball, but for life. And at this year's banquet, I had the honor of sitting down with these 4 women and picking their brain about mindset and overcoming adversity and teamwork and all the things that they learned from softball. And so this episode is a little bit different. You're going to hear background noises, you're going to hear applause, and then actually at the end, which is really neat, a lot of the girls who play on the teams that were in the camp, they step up to the mic and they ask the women questions as well. Now, before we get to this exciting, unique episode, I wanted to ask you guys if you've bought your tickets to Growth Now Movement Live 2020 yet. I will tell you this, they are flying off the shelves. Over 30% of the VIP tickets are already gone. It's insanely exciting. I'm announcing another speaker today, so head over to my Instagram at GNM Podcast to see who it is. I'm so beyond excited to announce her. And look, last year was a game-changing event for every single person in attendance. Connections were made, friendships were had, and everybody learned from the incredible speakers. And this year we're going bigger and badder and better than ever. So head over to gnmlive.com right now and get your tickets before it's too late. You do not want to miss it. So without further ado, I give to you Jennie Finch, Leah O'Brien Amico, Toni Mascarenas, and Crystal Bustos.
How's everybody doing tonight? There you go. So this is actually really exciting. So obviously you guys taught these young women some skill sets, some things they need to kind of improve their game. But I know in life, you have to improve your mind too. This is a great opportunity to kind of get to know you guys on that level. Like, what did it take beyond the work, beyond the reps, beyond all that stuff to reach the level in which you guys did? So let's start there. We're going to start heavy. What do you feel sets you apart to be at that top level compared to the people who don't make it to the Olympics or college or beyond? And anybody can answer. All of you can answer.
They heard from me today. I shared with them that I think, I always thought, like, if I were to make the Olympic team, I would be it, like superhero, invincible. And it was like, I put that jersey on and that same negative voice tried to creep in my head. And it's like, wait a minute, like, no, I'm an Olympian. This shouldn't be. And from that moment, it's like, it's always going to be a battle, no matter what level you're on, how good you are. It's going to be a constant battle within yourself of staying positive. I think, combination of working hard and trusting that preparation, and then just grinding it out and then firmly believing that you can. And I think, we have to speak life. Visualization is a huge part of our game, seeing ourselves do what we hope and want to do, and staying positive and believing that you can, you will.
Awesome. Yeah.
I also think, to piggyback off that, I think surrounding yourself with people that believe the same thing, and that are actually trying to get to where you're trying to get, so you guys can kind of work out together. I know for me, working out with teammates made me train harder. So just surrounding yourself with family, friends. I know we all have friends in high school, and all of us can contest to that didn't play sports, and we didn't hang out with them as much. And they're always like, you're always at softball. And, because we had goals, we had things that we wanted to do and to achieve. So we knew that we had to give up some of those things to get there.
For me, I wasn't satisfied until I did it well. And so I would get frustrated with myself, and then I'd figure out, okay, I need to practice more, and then I'd work. And then when I saw the results, then I was like, okay. And then the thing about softball is you can have one great day and the next day cannot be so great. So it was constantly back to the drawing board. Okay, what do I need to do? As well as I wanted to listen to my coaches. I was so thankful for the coaches that I had who could point me in the right direction from being 8 years old in my first pitching lessons, and then, continuing that, and then coaches working with me on hitting and then defense, and just constantly being a sponge. And that for me, like as they poured in and I put that into action and then saw the results, which is why we love what we get to do now with all of you, because we knew what worked for us and we saw how important the fundamentals were. So that's why we love passing it on, and we can see when it's clicking and when girls have good fundamentals, how the results come from that.
I love all those answers. So when I think about elite people in sports, in business, like people that I get to talk to all the time because of my podcast, I always look for that one thing that they may have inside of them that kind of set them up. Maybe they picked it up at a young age. Maybe it was something somebody said to them. What do you think that was that igniter for you to push harder? Because it's not easy to get up every day, every morning early and work out and go do the extra thing. So what do you think that one thing that was instilled into you guys that helped you do that?
So for me, it was watching movies. Honestly, like I would watch, we were like Rocky was coming out. There was all kinds of good athletic movies where everyone was working hard to be the best. And it was all about being the best. For me, I wanted to be the best that I could be, period. And so I didn't care what anybody else thought about what I was doing as long as I was pleasing myself. And a lot of the times as athletes, we worry about pleasing everybody else instead of pleasing ourselves. And for me, it was all about being the best, like going out there doing what I need to do. I didn't worry about what you were doing or what you were doing or what you were doing. I was worried about what I was doing and what I was going to do to get to the top. And a lot of times, I noticed today when we were doing the clinic, so many young girls are worried about what the other person might be thinking about them, or what the other person just looks funny on me, or like we're so worried about what everybody else thinks instead of worrying about what we need to do and what makes us happy.
That's like a deep question.
Sorry. They haven't listened to the show. I always go really deep. They've never listened to my show, but it's going to get worse.
I think there's this fear of losing too, in a way. And it's like, I've been asked, like, do you enjoy winning more or do you hate losing more? And for me, it was, I didn't want to lose. So it was doing everything I could not to lose, not to let down my teammates, not to fall short, not to mess up. And I knew that when I got to that moment, I would look back and kind of fall on my preparation leading up to that. And so I had to do everything and anything that I could possibly do because I didn't want any regrets. I didn't want to look back and say, man, I should have done that, or I should have worked a little bit hard here. So it was when we were out there in the heat of the battle, it was, I am ready. I'm prepared. I've done everything that I could at this moment. And then I think too, just my faith, ultimately, like I want to fulfill God's will for my life, and I want to be the best that I can be for him and to give him the glory. And I don't want to fall short in that. And so I think, and just competitiveness, and you look at your teammates, and that's like Toni was saying, that was motivation for us right there. It's like, man, Leah's doing this, Boosters is doing this, Toni's out there doing this. Like I got to continue to work. I got to grind. I got to be better. That wasn't really one thing.
No, it doesn't need to be. Yeah.
And for me, I think I have there's like this line, like I don't think too high of myself. Like I'm like, I could be so much better. But then like, I'm like, but I'm better than you. Like if we're going for the same thing, like I'm beating you. Not really. Like I think of it that way, but it's like I had this like, oh, I could be so much better, but I think I should be on the Olympic team. You know what I mean? It's like this fine line of like, there's always room for growth, but I think and I believe that I deserve to be one of the best. So if I'm doing it with everything that I have, so I will be successful no matter what I'm doing.
Oh, I love it. Can you guys relate to that at all? Do you guys feel like you're that way? Oh, good. So, it's, growing up, seeing softball in the Olympics, being able to kind of watch that, Jennie, you were really the first face of the sport in my life. I remember, I think it was like Rock and Jock, MTV. Well, you were doing that, right? Like that's like, did you not perform on those like celebrity softball tournaments and stuff like that? So I remember that. And so my question for you is like, obviously these women have the opportunity to see you and see you shine and see you guys as a team get the gold. Who did you guys look up to? Like, who was your motivator?
For me, I looked up to Magic Johnson. I wasn't much into softball as far as like it wasn't in our era. It wasn't like on TV a lot. It wasn't like we really got to see a lot of people in softball to look up to. So I looked up to Magic Johnson, the way he covered the court, the way he was smiling, having fun, the no-look pass, the way he enjoyed his game. And for me, that's the way I wanted to play. I wanted to enjoy the game. I wanted people to enjoy watching us play. I wanted to basically put Showtime out on the floor. And to me, that's what it was cool to be. Is like people are watching us. I want to give them something to watch. I want to see how far I can hit this ball. I want to see if I can steal a base as a big kid. Big pig. Just kidding.
And it was so like everybody was looking at her, including all of us. Like, what's she gonna do? What's she gonna do? How far is she gonna hit it? Like, pitcher, you better not leave anything over the middle of the plate, or it's gonna be gone. So it was just neat. Showtime for sure.
I love it. And what about you guys? Who did you look up to growing up?
I had my older brothers, looked up to them. I watched the Dodgers, the Lakers as well growing up. I remember my parents would cut out any article on any female athlete, and I would read it, and it would always be the last page of Sports Illustrated, and it would be this small, or in the newspaper, it'd be a tiny article of a female athlete, and we couldn't be picky of what it was. Like, no, she's a female athlete, like that's awesome. Let alone we never heard anything on our sport, and so and then as I got older, I started watching. When the Olympics began, our softball was in the Olympics in 1996. That's really when they had the platform of television, and we could see these ladies going around doing camps, playing USA softball, making a living doing it. And then that became the goal, and it was pretty cool. Like I said today, I was in her autograph line in 96 watching her play on tour, and then 8 years later, I'm sharing a field with her. Like,
That's
what?
awesome.
Crazy. So cool. So amazing. I had their autograph balls in my room, and now they were my teammates. So pretty cool to kind of be in between those. And I think Title IX baby too in that era. And I think coming back from 2000 Olympics again in Sydney, it was a great games, very competitive, and then going into 2004, it was like the year of the female athlete. Sports Illustrated came out after the Olympics, and women's soccer won gold. We won gold. The women's swimmers were just making it big time. So it was really, really cool to see all of these females succeed and get the coverage that they deserved. And we could read about it and get to know these other athletes.
Yeah. So when's the last time you guys played together? No.
A little sensitive with the age thing right now.
That's fair.
And I'm the youngest.
I can relate. I just turned 35.
Yeah.
That was on Dancing with Stars. If you watch, that exact move was on there. And hence why we were here.
I love it. So it's been how many years? Roughly.
A long time. 10 years at least.
So 10 years. So 10 years ago, you guys stopped playing together, but you guys are still a team, and you're still crushing it, traveling the country, teaching the next generation of stars. Why? What is it about you four or whoever else is on your team that's so important to you guys?
We want to win. Japan has the gold medal. We want to win. And we want these young ladies to understand that they can reach whatever goal they want to reach because we've done it. We've been in your shoes. We were that little kid at one point that was like, I'm not going to get off the bench. I'm not going to be able to play. I'm not here, and doubt. But at the same time, we ended up reaching where we wanted to go because we didn't settle. And to let you all know that at one point, you may not see it in 2024, but you will hopefully see it again in 2028, and you'll hopefully see it again, and we're going to keep fighting and battling to keep it in the Olympics. And who knows, one day you might be wearing the jersey you just purchased. So that would be really cool, and that's why we do what we do.
That's awesome. So who wants to play in the Olympics one day? Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. What about the other people here? What's your take on this team that you guys have put together to change the face of softball going forward?
I think we love what we do. We're passionate about what we do, and it's truly a dream to be able to still be surrounded by these women. And that was the hardest part, I think, after retiring, is losing, your teammates. And of course, we still have each other, but that's what I miss the most. I think of like those hard days, grinding it out, laughing hysterically over stupid stuff, traveling the world with these ladies, and just those memories of the everyday memories, not even so much on the field too. It's just being around them, surrounding yourself with them. But just so thankful that we get the opportunity. We didn't have the opportunity to go to camps and clinics and hear from Olympians because it had never been done. There wasn't a professional league. Those things weren't there. And now these next generations are growing up, seeing college softball on TV week in and week out, right in front of them, and just how much further we'll be from them. And that's one of the greatest ways to learn, right? For you guys to tune in and watch those games. And it's pretty neat to know that you guys can look up in Google any female sport and see a female athlete that represents that sport, where we never had that, where you guys, any sport, there's a female athlete that represents that sport. You guys can do anything. It's an amazing time to be alive.
I love that. So, obviously this is going to be on my podcast, and it might be the first time that I get the opportunity and the pleasure to talk about Big Vision Foundation, something that's near and dear to my heart because I believe in community and I played baseball growing up, and, I just love what they're all about. So obviously you guys have had an amazing relationship with Big Vision over the last couple of years. What do you see in organizations like Big Vision that are kind of paving the way? Like, what is it about Big Vision that tied you guys to Berks County? Because we look at Reading, and I love Reading. I moved here when I was 19, and I fell in love with the place. But not everybody looks at us and says, hey, there's an opportunity there. What was it about this area that you're like, this makes sense?
To be honest, it was Dan Klauser and his heart for the game, for the community, for the next generation. And that led us to Big Vision and the opportunity here, and to see how they're changing lives. And we all know the impact of sport. And I think, all of us can attest and say and agree that we hope that they play after, but ultimately that's not the goal. It's, to help build, shape, and create these young women and empower them, fill them with self-esteem, confidence, all of those life lessons that you're able to learn in sport. And that's what Big Vision does at the grassroots level, day in and day out. And to see them grow and them have an impact in the community, and then be able to, I think, impact the community itself by bringing other teams in. It's just a very unique, awesome thing that they're able to do.
So I want you guys to start thinking about questions. And if you come up with any questions, come up to this microphone here. And we'll turn it over to you guys. But, one question that I ask every single person on my podcast, because I have the opportunity to interview successful people, however you want to define success. And I want all of you guys to answer this. So my question for you guys is, what is your definition of success? And what are 3 things you do every single day to ensure that success for yourself in your life? Yep. So your definition of success, and then 3 things you do every day to ensure that success. Routines important.
So for me, the definition of success is whether or not I'm happy, because there's a lot of people that do things and their definition of success is totally different. But for me, it's whether or not I'm happy every day that I wake up doing what I'm doing. And the 3 things that I do is I wake up, I have coffee, get me started, and then I figure out ways that it's going to make me happy to make other softball players happy that I run and I work with, and try to keep the cost down for them to play this sport. And then the 3rd thing I do is I do my time, what makes me feel good, whether it's hanging out with my dogs, mowing the lawn. Trust me, I actually really like mowing my lawn. So just those things. But to me, it's not success as my bank account or anything like that. It's just whether or not I'm happy with who I am that every day I wake up. So for some of you, you kind of got to look at what's the most valuable thing to you. And for me, it's my time. And if I'm happy and I know I'm happy, then that's all that matters to me.
So for me, I think it's tied to significance. And for me, my faith in Jesus is my foundation. And so within that, I want to be who God's created me to be. I want to, in college, my eyes were opened. I had a teammate who just lived on fire for God, and it impacted me in a way to be like, wait, I'm missing something. And so with that, she ended up actually so impacted by that, because I was 21 years old. She didn't know she was going to pass away at that age. And I just remember thinking, you know what? We have right now, and we have the people around us. And so for me, it was like, okay, God, what have you called me to do? So that's softball and teaching this. And I've been able to use my gifts and talents to reach my goals, but I want to help you do the same. Each day I read my Bible. I have my kids. I'm a mom. I'm a mom first and foremost, a wife and a mom first and foremost. And so, okay, I need to be a good mom. How do I help my kids, my own boys? I have 3 boys. I got all my girls here. I got 3 boys. And so, okay, I want to help them accomplish their dreams. My parents did that for me. And then at the end of the day, okay, who am I coming across? We're so involved in different things. Last weekend I was in Mexico. We were on vacation, but I was able to visit an orphanage there. Not because I had to, but because I've gone multiple times and we had a connection. And it was like, this is the stuff that matters. Dan, I know we've talked a lot too with us being here. Like, it's about others, pouring into others and what can we do? And so who am I going to come across that day? So my heart and my goal was that all of these people we meet this weekend walk away knowing that they matter, they're valued. And that's, to me, success if I've done that.
Love it.
I think mine is success is for right now is just feeling accomplished every day, making sure I literally, it might seem like really small, but I get up and I make my bed every single day because that's one thing that I've accomplished, one thing that I've done. Okay. I know it seems small, but I'm like, hey, I made my bed today. If I do nothing else today, at least I made my bed. So I just think I'm kind of piggybacking off of Bustos. I think just making sure you're happy. I'm a mom just like Jennie and Leah, and I think making my kids feel loved and instilling things in them that they matter and be who you want to be and just know that they're loved. I know my mom and dad, I always felt loved. I coach, I give lessons every single night, so I want to make sure that at least one girl that leaves my facility at night that I've taught them something more not really about softball, but about life. I usually talk to my girls every night and just say, how was your day? How was softball? How was school? How was this? How was that? And usually they can open up. So I just kind of want to be that outlet for them and just to let them know that they matter.
That is tough. I think piggybacking off of Leah, I think it's just like being who we're called to be. And I think there's fulfillment in that. Do I think we always are that though? No, I'm thankful for God's grace that he gives us. But I think, we learn and we move forward. And I think if you're constantly learning and growing, that's being a success. It's not in the victories. It's not in the trophies, the medals, but if you're constantly growing, it's like, there's stagnant, there's moving backwards, there's going forward. And I just hope to always be growing in my walk in faith, growing as a mom, helping my children grow to be the best that they can be. And I mean, each day I think it differs. Like some days it's like, we're just trying to get through the day. Like my kids have, are on my last nerve. Everything's we just need to get to bed some days, So I think it's up and down. And when we were playing, ultimately, I think, it would be just to be the best that I could be for my teammates, and giving everything I have towards what I'm trying to do. So I think it's just being passionate about something and, growing, however that is.
Yeah, I love it. And obviously that's my brand, growth now movement. So there you go. I appreciate that. And it looks like we have some questions. Yes. All right. Step up, say your name, and I don't know, whatever else you want to ask or tell us. I don't know.
Hannah.
Hi, Hannah.
What is the biggest difference between how Americans play softball and how other countries play?
Oh,
good question.
It's a great question. Yeah. Seriously.
So,
take over my show.
I think that was one of the most fascinating things when I started playing international play. Australia, when I think of Australia, I think of big powerhouse. So there's not too many lefty slappers. I'm thinking their quads are massive. They lift a lot of weights. They're really strong and they go for the long ball. Their pitchers throw hard. So they're more of a powerhouse. I wouldn't think of, speed when I think of them, although they do have a couple, girls that are pretty quick. And then Japan, it's very much slapper, quick. How else would you? They train to 8 to 10 hours a day, so they're like fundamentally sound. But when I think of Japan, and we've talked about this, when you think about it, they practice so much that like mentally they're not really there. And I think after winning in 2008, what? No. But I think like fundamentally they're better than us. But put them under pressure. That's when we thrived, and that's when you would see kind of them fall short. I know. But I'm saying that was a huge confidence booster. And them winning, like, elevated their whole program to the next level because they've proven to themselves that they could do it. So where before, I don't think they truly believed to the core that they could do it, right? It was always just trying to hang with us. And then they did it. And so then now it's at a whole another level. Any other to play?
My show does really well in Japan, by the way. So I'm interested to see what happens here.
What? No, they're amazing. They have an incredible, successful pro league. No, but I want you guys to know. Oh my gosh, really? No, I have the utmost respect for them and what they do, and it's incredible. They have a pro league that's way better than our pro league. There's huge corporations that sponsor these teams. They work in the morning for the corporation. In the afternoon, they're practicing. Each team is allowed 2 foreigners, so a lot of Americans, the elite Americans, go over there and play and make $100,000 in 6 months, which that is not even close to anything that you make in the U.S. as a professional player. So they're doing a lot right. Practice, and all the Americans that go over there are just stunned by how long they actually wipe off every single softball after every single practice.
Wow.
Like, talk about respect for the game and respect for what they do.
So that's the challenge to you guys, the next generation, to outwork Japan and take back the gold. But Hannah, that was a great question. Thank you so much.
Great question.
What did it feel
What's
like?
your name?
Gianna.
Gianna?
What does it feel like when you get the call that you're on the USA Olympic team?
The best thing ever. The best thing. Our first one was on a list, and so you wanted to like scream and yell, but then you had to there were people that didn't make the team, and so you just had to keep it under until somebody from home called, and then you're screaming, but then you're like cool under pressure with everybody else. The best thing ever.
If you watch some movies, and they place like the test scores, and you see if you made the cheerleading team, they do that a lot, right, on the movie. That's what it was like. It was like posted, and we're all like, sorry, you didn't make it, sorry. It's like, but you're like, yeah, you walk away, right? And you're like, sorry. It's like,
you go, grab your phone and call your
you know, and
wait for everybody else.
and seriously, so there was times that they put an envelope underneath the door of our hotel, and it was like, you had to open it and see if you made it, and then you would be in there with your roommate, and you're like, did you make it?
Oh.
Like, sorry.
That's terrible.
I'm going to go tell my parents now. Like, it was so bad. And then it got to the text, the emails, and all that kind of stuff. Like, a little bit better now. But back then, it was like you could be right next to somebody and be like, I just wanted to say yes so loud. And then just like, sorry. Are you going to be okay?
And this is like after 5 days of training, practicing, playing. The last night they would post it. And so everybody was just uneasy waiting for the time that they would post it. And then they'd post it and everybody would go run you back home. And then Monday morning you get an email in your inbox, which is way better because you're by yourself. You're not.
And you can actually celebrate, which is good. Gianna, thank you so much.
Do you ever share that so many...
Oh, that's a great question. What's your name?
Madison.
I think it's an incredible honor. And I remember being denied an autograph when I was little, and it hurt really bad, and I could not believe that they said no. And so I always told myself, like, I will never be that person. And, I want to be as accessible as possible. And then you realize, like, we would sign for an hour and a half after our games of Team USA, and, like, we have a 9-hour bus ride to the next stop, and they have to cut it off. And that was the worst feeling of having to say no, like, it was like a knife to your heart. But it's like, that was, I think, the hardest part was like knowing that you cannot please everybody, and then especially when I became a mom too, I really had to put my kids first. And then that kind of, it was just hard because like, where do you draw the line? But in the pro league, I was always the last. I mean, me and the field crew guy, we'd lock up the field every night together. Like, it was our time. Basically, it was me and the fans were left every night. And it was just, I loved being able to have that opportunity, hopefully encourage you, inspire you to be the best that you can be. And what a cool thing it was. Like, we never had that. So to be able to be a role model was for sure an honor and an incredible gift. Never pressure.
Great question. Thank you.
Maddie, I want to know how you deal with the frustration of one bad pitch, one bad catch, one stuff like that.
That's a really good question. Really good. You stumped him.
Okay, so for me, it's like if I struck out, I didn't really worry about it because I'm going to get another at-bat. Either another game, another at-bat, there's going to be another thing. Until I took my cleats off and decided to never put them back on again, the way I looked at it is there's always tomorrow. So, like, we're all going to make mistakes. We were all going to overthrow a ball. We were all going to boot a ball. We were all going to not hit a ball. We're going to be sometimes when the game's on the line, runner at third, 2 outs, and you've got to put a ball in play and you won't do it. It's going to happen. It happens to all of us. So at the end of the day, I was just like, look, I'm going to be back tomorrow. You're not going to do that to me. Toni can attest to that. Go ahead, tell him, Toni.
Oh, it's okay, boo. I struck her out when we were 12 years old.
And then what happened?
I didn't hit off you. I took myself out of the game. Oh, I struck her out, and literally it was like swing and a miss, and it was like, and she walked, and I watched her walk in the dugout, and she like didn't give everybody a high five. She like walked straight through the dugout, went straight to the net, and started hitting off the tee. And I was like, I don't need to pitch anymore. Like, I'm good. Like, if she comes up again, we're good. That just made my career. I'm good.
That's awesome.
And that's the thing, because there was going to be another chance, and it wasn't going to happen again.
And look, that's so good. And clap that up. And one thing I can attest to, obviously, I know baseball, and I can tell you that a Hall of Famer gets a hit 3 out of 10 times, which means he's striking out or getting out 7 out of 10 times. So it's just about stepping up to the plate again every single time and trying your hardest. And you could be a Hall of Famer and still not hit every single time. That was a great question. Thank you.
My name is also Matt.
Hi, Elsa. What's your question?
No, my name's Madison.
Oh, Madison. Oh, Miss. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, thought it was Frozen. Madison, what's your question?
How do they pick the Olympic team?
So there's tryouts, and it's changed through the years, but at the tryout, there's this October. We're in September. Next month, the USA will be having the Olympic tryout. So there was a team that played this summer, but every single year, the national team. And so they're going to have about 30-something players come to this tryout, and they're going to, we did different agility drills, different testing, speed things, and then we scrimmaged, okay? So they watched us on the field with drills like you guys are doing, as well as speed and agility, and then actual scrimmaging against our own pitchers. They faced all the hitters, and you have a selection committee of 7 people, and then they go into a room with the coach, and they all decide and name the 15 players that are on the team. And then we used to have 3 alternates. I believe they may be doing that again this time. And then we told you how we found out. They send out an email once they pick it.
Now, as a pitcher, did you take it easy on your friends so they made the team too? And you guys are just, come on.
No, it was, we're all out for ourselves when it came down to that. Because you knew you're facing the best of the best. And so it's like, you got to take everything you can get. There's no mercy. You're going in for the win.
Yeah, just remember, no friends when you're trying out for the Olympics. Then once you make the team, you can become a team again. So, thank you.
My name's Paige, and why did you choose to play softball?
Because I knew I wasn't going to be a figure skater.
I couldn't pass tumbling class. I couldn't do a back bend over. Or I don't even know what it's called. My brothers play baseball.
For me, I started, I think, when I was 7. My dad always loved baseball. I was the firstborn child. And so he got a ball and a glove and sent me out to the field. And I fell in love with it. I ended up playing soccer later that year, fell in love with both those sports. And eventually softball opened more doors.
Yeah, my sister's 4 years older, and she played softball, so I kind of just followed in her footsteps.
Awesome. Thank you.
My name's Mackenzie, and what's the fastest?
Fastest pitch that I know of was 72 miles an hour.
Wow.
I'm Melissa, and why do you love softball so much?
I love it because I like to hit home runs. When the ball goes far and the crowd is cheering, even the ones against you are cheering because it went so far, that to me is the ultimate joy.
I love it. I'm competitive. I'm one of the most competitive people that you guys will ever meet. I love being involved with a team. I love that any shape or size that a girl is. You guys look at us right here. We all played softball where we don't all look the same. Like in basketball and volleyball, you see you pretty much have to be tall. And I just love to compete. I love that there's so many different aspects of the game where you have to run, you have to slide, you can bunt, you can hit, you play defense. I like that there's both sides.
Anyone else? No? Awesome. Thank you. Yeah.
My name is Cora. Do you think that doing other sports growing up helped you in softball?
Gosha, yeah, good question.
Yes, and yes. I think it helps you become more athletic, more body aware, more self-disciplined, I think, in certain ways. And I think it's a good challenge to, put yourself in a different situation, trying to force your body to do different things. And so I know for all of us, we all played other sports, and that helped us tremendously, just because I think far as being an all-around athlete, it helped us. And I think, too, for us, softball was our main sport. So that other sport was kind of fun. Not that softball wasn't fun, but it was kind of just a more lighthearted experience. And I got to play with my school friends. And I met people that I probably wouldn't have hung out with through basketball and volleyball, but got to make great friends and memories with them for that. So I played all 4 years basketball, volleyball, and softball in high school. And I think none of us stopped playing softball. We played year-round softball, but they played soccer, other sports as well.
And to double on that a little bit, it doesn't need to be like go and sign up for actual soccer. Just play and be a kid. Run around outside, play soccer with your friends, play basketball with your friends, like play other things and try other things. It doesn't have to be go play on a team and be organized basketball, organized soccer. Be a kid. Just be outside and get off the thumbs.
What was that?
The thumb.
Yes, put your phones away, y'all. Live life. Like, we played pickle all the time. We played pepper. Like, those are the games. Butts up? Yeah. That hurt.
Yeah, I think my nieces and nephews are like literally attached to their iPads. I'm sure you can relate. But yeah, thank you so much for the question. I appreciate it.
I'm Angelina, and how did it feel when you received your first Olympic gold medal?
It was really surreal. I was 21 years old. It was in Atlanta, Georgia. We were actually in Columbus, and it was the first time softball was ever in the Olympics. I was one of the younger athletes in the team, still in college. I had won a national championship, but this was a whole different experience and level. Wearing the United States of America, the uniform, having the flag raised, the national anthem played. Literally, I turned immediately to my parents when I got the gold medal with tears in my eyes and waved to them, knowing they were the whole reason I was on that podium. I was so honored to be with my teammates up on that podium and seeing my coach in the stands who I played for at college. But bigger than that, all the fans who support us along the way, all the people in the stands, I just was so proud to say, for America, we are number one. It was so much bigger than ever me as a player. It was all about our country, my team, and bringing home the gold.
Thank you. And then this will be the last I don't know your name. Sorry, the blonde with the glasses. You're going to be the last question. Uh-oh. I can't be mean. Oh. Go ahead. Sorry.
My name's Kylie, and my question interfered with anything else in your life.
So softball ever interfered with anything else in your life?
Everything. Still, Toni's missing both of her sons' football games. I missed my daughter's cheer camp and soccer practice today.
Happy birthday.
Woo! She loves birthday hugs. Yeah. 200 hugs for Bustos tomorrow.
They're kidding, and those of you in the hitting group know I don't like my space invaded. No.
I sent one group over to hug her today. No?
That's
Yes, so we had to sacrifice a lot. There were things we missed out on pretty much every weekend, but the memories that we had with our teammates, we all had a goal. We were all missing out on the same thing. So it wasn't like I was making all of these sacrifices, just me. It was my teammates are doing the same thing. So I think being around other girls that had that goal-orientated, mindset within them, it made it worth it. And looking back, it's like, man, like those things are still going to be there. The movies, the beaches, yes, weddings, family reunions, all of that's hard. And you for sure have to have a balance. If your whole life is softball is a game of failure. That's a rough life, right? So important to have a balance between your faith, your family, your schoolwork, and softball. But definitely it interferes.
Yeah, and it's harder for you guys because you guys have phones and you have ways to see what your other friends are doing, and they're having a good time going to beaches and baseball fields. So it's much harder for y'all because we didn't have that. We had pagers. We couldn't see what everybody else was doing. So it wasn't as hard for us. But I know for you guys it's hard to balance that because you're like, oh, I want to be over there with them, but you're at a softball field. But you got to understand that's why we talked about surrounding yourself with people that do the same thing. You won't miss out on everything else, But we did miss out on like family vacations, family birthday parties, family weddings, all that kind of stuff. You're going to sacrifice all that, trust me.
Yeah, just focus on what you're doing. Did you guys have fun today? Yeah? So, right. So if you focus on that, that's what's, but yeah, thank you. Great question.
My name is Sadie, and my question is, when you have in your head or someone you think about to...
So for me, I always took a big deep breath, exhaled. In between my pitches, I would always talk to my third baseman. Toni played third. Bustos played third with me. So I'd kind of talk to them because that kept me from talking to me because usually that wasn't good. So kind of kept my mind in the game and out of myself. I visualized each pitch before I threw it. I picked a spot that I wanted to hit it to. I started reciting Philippians 4:13 in my head my junior year of college and did that ever since. So I think, you have to find what you need in that moment. You know, what type of pitcher you are for you to be the best that you can be. And I did learn, like we talked about today, one pitch at a time. If I were to get out there and try to think like, I got to get 3 outs. It's like, no, Jennie, no. And how many of us think in the first inning, our mindset is already if we're going to win or lose. We're in the first inning. Like nothing's going to happen. We're in, inning 1. We have a whole game to play. Why are we instantly thinking about winning or losing the end result? Like it's a journey. Appreciate the journey. Enjoy the journey. 1 pitch at a time. That's very rude.
She needs a pager again.
Yeah. 1 pitch at a time, not 3 outs. It's just the next pitch. And you can battle for 1 pitch like we talked about, right? There's not that much pressure in just 1 pitch. So 1 pitch at a time, and all of a sudden you'll be in the 7th inning. You'll be in the championship game, but you won't get there without that next pitch.
Thank you.
Thank you. What was the most helpful things? What were some of the most helpful things coaches taught them?
Coach Candrea, my coach at Arizona and on the Olympic team, he constantly told us you need to control the controllables, your attitude and your effort. Jennie probably talked about that with you today. But he's like, how hard you work, I'm in control of that. Not him, not my coach, not my parents. And then the attitude that you're going to have about it. A good attitude, a teammate that's encouraging other people or picking people up or leading with the cheers. People are going to follow that, and that's going to impact everyone in a positive way. So control your attitude and your effort.
I think too, just bringing it, like we talked about, not going through the motions. And when you're led that way, like Coach Candrea did, it's so much easier to follow when you know that they're bringing their A game every day. You're surrounded by your teammates that are bringing their A game every day, so you're not going to bring your A game. But so many life lessons. I could go on and on the softball field and off the softball field. I'm so thankful for, so many life lessons that they taught us. Every day. And at every level, too, I think we can take away so much from our different coaches, good and bad, right? So we can even learn from our bad coaches like we talked about.
I think with Coach Candrea, too, he always said, be where your feet are. So no one likes practice, right? But where you're at, where you're there, your feet are there, so just be in that moment. Wherever your feet are at, make sure you guys live it up and do your best you can.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, we'll allow this last question, but you owe me $10.
My name is Ella.
I had a ACL tear my rookie season in the Pro League. So I had just been nominated to play in the All-Star game, and it was our last game before we were about to catch a plane to head over. And I slid into third base, and I tore my whole knee up. Like the whole thing was blown out. I tried to stand up. I went straight down. My head was spinning from the pain. They walked me off the field. The doctors came in that night, tested my knee, looks at me dead in my eyes, and says, "You're done." And I said, I'm done. Like, how done? Like, done like I can't play today. Done like I'm never going to play again. You don't just come into an athlete and say, you're done. Like, you got to be a little more clear on that. And he's like, oh, no, you're done for the season at least. And I said, okay, so you're going to put it in a brace and I'm going to play. That's what I'm telling you. I said, I don't care if the brace has to come from my feet to my hips. I'm playing, and you're going to brace this so it doesn't move. And so I played in a brace half a season with a torn, blown-out knee. Okay, I had it completely strapped all the way down. And then, right after we won the championship, I went straight to surgery the next day. And again, it was done on September 9th, the day after my birthday. I will never forget that. So birthdays are just a thing with me. I'm just never going to be home. So I had surgery, and I was determined to get back and play. I literally came back 3 months later, went to USA tryouts. I had my knee brace when I went to my first tryout when I first met Leah. I had a knee brace, went out there, did my thing, and made the U.S. team with a knee brace. So at the end of the day, it's all how bad you want it. And as much as people can say that you're not going to do something, you can't come back from something, nobody knows what you're capable of, only you. Don't take anyone else, like I said, You just got to believe in you and know that there's been people that have done totally 100 miraculous things that doctors are going, that just should be impossible for you. That shouldn't have happened. That is a miracle. So if you want something, go get it, kid.
Love it. Love it.
I think too, trusting the process. Like, it's going to be a long, slow process, and you have to just be real. Like, I'm not going to be at my best, but that's okay. I'm playing, right? And just, hey, obviously from taking time off, like, your just hunger to be out there is that much greater. So cling to that, use that to your advantage, your appreciation of being out there, and don't be too hard on yourself. Show yourself a lot of grace. It's going to take time, and it's a game of failure already, right? So take it easy, trust the process, but never give up. Keep going.
Awesome. Love it. And so obviously, I wrap up all of my podcasts with the same question. Since my show is called The Growth Now Movement, it's kind of weird because I've never asked 4 people this question. So I'm going to try and make it so one of you can answer and we can wrap it up nicely. So again, the name of the show is The Growth Now Movement. So I wrap up every single question with, in your life, what has been your biggest moment of growth? But my question for you guys as a team is, as a team, what has been your biggest moment of growth? I'll wait.
Okay, so I think as a team, our biggest moment of growth has been the fact that we've been able to do these camps and clinics for, 10, 12, 15 years? We've been able to do these clinics for over 15 years, and you can just imagine, we have 200 kids here. There's been times there's been 400 kids, 450 kids. The amount of young women we've been able to touch and teach and get out there our message and keep and still be able to do it. I think that growth throughout that long is just amazing.
That's huge. Yeah. 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 I want to thank you guys personally and obviously on behalf of Dan and Big Vision Foundation for everything you guys do. You're truly shaping America and the future of what this country is going to be. And just thank you guys so much for what you do. I know it's a lot of work and it's amazing.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you guys so much for being a part of the Growth Now movement. This is how you can really help me out. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please share it out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff. And let's grow this movement to epic heights. And it's all going to be because of you guys. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.